Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to our annual video, which aims to predict and give information around when Eid al Fitr will be, because it allows people to start to plan their leave, allows to make plans for work, for school, for college. So before we move on, make sure you subscribe to the channel and share this video with others. So it's important you subscribe so you can pick up these information and other informative videos from the channel. So we'll look at what Saudi Arabia will be doing, because unfortunately a lot of people follow them here in Europe, which is quite nonsensical, but that's what they do. We look at UK Eid when that should be based on the Sunnah of moon sighting. We'll have a look at Morocco. As we know, they sight the moon at a national level, at a government level. We'll have a look at when it's likely that they will sight the moon, as they are very close to us geographically. We'll also look at Saudi Arabia. If they were following the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ and sighting the moon, when would they be possibly doing Eid? So in summary, before we get into the detail, because I know a lot of you, as I said earlier, will switch off after a few minutes because you're now used to shorts and 30 seconds and 40 seconds attention span, which is a shame for the Muslims. So we will look for the moon in the UK on the evening of Thursday, the 19th of March. So next Thursday evening, we'll have a look for the moon. There is a low chance of sighting the moon. It's possible, but it's a very low chance. It'll be exceptional if we were able to see the moon. So the greater possibility is that Eid will take place on Saturday, the 21st of March, 2026, and we will be completing 30 days of fasting. If the moon is sighted on the night of Thursday, we will accept that if it's credible, because there is a possibility, although it's a very low possibility, hence we've got to make sure it's from a credible source. So Saudi Arabia is expected to announce Eid for Friday, 20th of March. That's based on their predetermined calendar. We knew that 10 years ago, and I'll show you for extracts from the websites which predicted this years and years ago. The issue they've got is because they started incorrectly by one day, they are forced to do Eid on Friday, unless they admit they made an error. But there's no chance of sighting the moon in Mecca. We've got a greater chance. They've got absolutely no chance of sighting the moon in Saudi Arabia on the night of Thursday, the 19th of March. So they shouldn't really be doing Eid on the 20th of March. They have absolutely no basis, apart from the basis that they would have completed 30 days, but they've only completed 30 days because they started wrong. People might think that's a strong statement, but it's a factual. So Saudi, most of the Gulf and their followers in Europe follow them, even though the Saudis say don't follow us, but people still end up following them. It's a bit of a weird situation where somebody's saying don't follow me, but we still insist on following them. So 10 years ago, etc., even more than that, we knew they were going to do Eid on the 20th of March, 2026. If you look at our videos from the previous few years, you'll see we predicted these dates. We told you of these dates then. So in that vein, Eid al Adha will be on the 26th of May for the Saudis. Good thing for us is it'd been half term. Next year, they will start Ramadan on Monday, the 8th of February, 2027. Again, this shows that they've already predetermined this. There's rationale for why they predetermine it. One can take an issue with that, but one can also understand it from an administrative point of view, why they do this. But that's no reason for us to follow them, certainly not when you're not subject to Saudi rules and regulations or a society. Their calendar is based on the birth of the moon, not when it is sightable. That's our biggest issue with them. They don't care their rationale, their formula, and people say, we don't use calculations. They're using calculations all the way through. Their formula disregards whether the moon can be sighted or not. They just say, if the moon's born, we'll accept the start of the month. And that was never the way of the Muslims, and never should be the way of the Muslims. An extract here, which I've been sharing for the last number of years, you can see the dates that they've predetermined. And you can see 1447 is the year that we're now in. So for next year, I'll have to update this and give you the next extract of this calendar. So UK moon sighting, we're going to sight this. We're going to try and look for the moon on Thursday, 19th of March. Looking at weather predictions, it should be a clear night for most of the UK. So that does raise the possibility we might be able to see it. But when we look at the stats, when we look at the size of the moon, the age of the moon, etc., we look at sunset and moonset timings, it tells you not be able to see. But we will look for it on Thursday, the 19th of March, and people should try to follow their sunnah on Thursday and go out and try and sight the moon, try and find a spot to sight the moon. On my channel, there are videos on how to sight the moon, some basic amateur level stuff for people to follow. So 2 elements for you to be able to sight the moon. First is how old is the moon. The older it is, the bigger its size, so that determines its size. If a moon is so small that you're not going to be able to see the crescent, it's so small that you're not going to be able to see it. That tells us how it is. So we need at least 15 to 16 hours at the very, very minimum. Most people say 24 hours. The earliest sighting, and that's why the US Naval using their technology, was that they were able to sight once, not every day, not every year, but once they were able to sight a moon that was around 15 to 16 hours old. Again, that's a minimum level. That's a rarity. Usually, typically, you need 24 hours, 20 hours at a bare minimum. So 15 to 16 hours, you're going to struggle. Then you also need to know how long it stays there, because you might have a big moon, a large moon, but if it moves quickly away, then less chance of seeing it. The longer it's there, the more chance you've got of seeing it, and the higher up it'll be. So how long it stays above the horizon, the more time you'll have to sight it. We need at least 45 minutes. Again, I'm giving 15, 16 hours, 45 minutes, at the absolute edge of possibility. You shouldn't really sight a moon that's 45 minutes old. You shouldn't really sight a moon that's 15 to 16 hours minimum, but trying to be fair, whatever I've been able to find in terms of what people have said is potentially possible, I've added that here. So let's have a look at this stuff. On Thursday, the 19th of March, at sunset, when we'll be looking for the moon, the age of the moon will be 16 hours and 55 minutes. So if we were taking 20 hours or 24 hours as a minimum for us to be able to see the moon, that doesn't give us the possibility of sighting it. Again, the very rare occasion when the moon was sighted was around the 16-hour mark. So again, if we were able to sight it, this would be a very rare occurrence. And given that in the UK, a lot of the sighters are amateurs, we haven't got the equipment, etc. We haven't got the right locations. We're going to struggle to see it. Then in terms of the visibility window, how long it'll be there, that's 59 minutes. So that's just about possible to sight a moon in 59 minutes. But given the age of the moon, there's a low chance of us being able to sight the moon on Thursday, 19th of March. So I'm not expecting it. I would love it to be, because there's always something special about the 29th moon. But I think we'll be disappointed this year and we won't be able to sight the moon. On Friday, the 20th of March, we've got an excellent chance. You've got 40 hours at the age of the moon. You've got 2 hours and 25-minute visibility window. So again, the second day misnomer. On the Thursday, the 19th, you will have a moon that's coming up to a day's age. As I said earlier, unless it reaches 24 hours, you're going to struggle to see it. So when people say, oh, after the fourth or fifth day, they'll say, look at the moon. That looks like it's like a 4-day moon or a 5-day moon. Yes, it is from the birth, but we don't care about the birth. We care about the sighting. And the sighting starts after 24 hours or 22 hours. So you would always be seeing a sightable moon. It will always be, you'll just take 1 day off that age of the moon. So people will come out and say, look, this is the 7th day moon, this is the 8th day moon. We were right. You weren't right, because that's the age of the moon. You weren't able to see the first day moon. And so again, we're expecting it the day after on Saturday. Morocco, they have got pretty much the same stats as us. That's why people use them as a reference point. And you can't compare people who use Saudi to as a reference point to people who use Morocco as a reference point for 2 reasons. One, Morocco's close to us. Look at the stats, look at the numbers, absolutely mirror our numbers. And secondly, they'll sight the moon, they look for the moon, like the Saudis. So again, a low chance. If anyone can see the moon, I expect the Moroccans to see the moon more than us, because they'll be doing a state level. They'll be in the right places at the right times to sight the moon. So if anyone has a chance of sighting the moon on that night, it should be the Moroccans. But again, the stats are telling us that there's a low chance of them sighting the moon. The visibility window is shorter, just slightly shorter than ours, although the age is slightly higher, but not much in it. So I don't expect Morocco to sight the moon, but you never know. And then again, Friday, we expect them to sight they don't need to sight the moon because we'd have completed 30 days. The stats and the numbers confirm our position, and they also confirm that we started Ramadan on the right day as well. And let's have a look at Makkah. If they were sighting the moon, should they be doing Eid on the Friday, which they will be doing because they completed 30 days? The age on Thursday night will be 14 hours, so that's not even meeting the minimum that's ever been recorded of sighting the moon. So they will be breaking new records if they sight the moon on that night. And the visibility window is 30 minutes, and all are agreed that is too short. So there's absolutely no chance of them sighting the moon. If they sight the moon, that will be absolutely shocking. So there's no chance of them sighting the moon on Thursday, 19th of March. So there's no Islamic basis to do Eid on Friday. They will do Eid on Friday because, one, they've determined it, and they've completed their 30 days as well. But this proves that their start was wrong. that when you've done 30 days of your month and you still can't sight the moon is shocking, because after 30 days you should be able to see the moon, and people should be able to see the moon with the naked eye. The fact that they've got to 30 days and they still can't sight the moon, let alone this, what the stats say, that they won't be able to sight the moon after 30 days, that is, evidence that they proved wrong. To those people who worry about this and did start with the Saudis, you must make sure you do another day's fasting and do Eid on the Saturday, not on the Friday. And it's no excuse saying that I've done my 30 days. You haven't done your 30 days. You did 29 days in Ramadan. You do one extra day at the end of Shaban. Again, excellent chance of sighting the moon on Friday the 20th of March. And Eid, based on moon sighting, should be on Saturday the 21st of March in Mecca. So again, if you like this video, please like it and subscribe it. Share this with your colleagues and friends. So people are a lot of concern about taking leave from work, etc. So given that Eid should be on a Saturday, you can take the Friday off as well and enjoy that day at home. It's the last Friday of Ramadan, so I would encourage people to take that day off work if you possibly can. So spend that day in Ibadah. The last Friday. Friday always has a time of barakah, and it's also the last day of Ramadan. There's something special about the last day of Ramadan. If you've got my book, The Prophet's Ramadan, that will tell you about the last day of Ramadan, how special that day is. So try not to lose that, and it's a Friday. If you can take the day off, do that. So until our next video, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.